Live, Prabhuji. I'm going to introduce you.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, this is better.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Sunday feast, Iskcon Naperville. Today we have a very special guest, His Grace Syamasundara Das. He is from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh congregation. Thank you, Prabhu. The topic is lessons from Dhruva Maharaj. Syamasundara Prabhuji is a working professional and a successful businessman. He has been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 2 decades. He spent a decade serving in New Vrindavan farm community and was instrumental in setting up successful fundraising drive and congregation development efforts. Prabhu is known for his in-depth understanding of Lord Chaitanya's teachings and his ability to present the philosophy in lucid manner. Prabhu, thank you very much. Please go ahead and share your screen. Yes, we can see your screen. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Pandurang Gopal Prabhu. So we'll chant the Mangalacharan prayers and then we will begin. So I'm not able to see anybody. I'm trying to. You can see we have.
Sorry, Prabhu.
I'm not able to see anybody.
Oh.
I can just see names, which is okay. We'll do prayers and then at least I know that you're there and Balram Prabhu is there. Okay, there you go.
Can you see me?
Yes. This
Hare
is what.
Krishna.
And I can see Mataji also.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right, so we'll chant Mangalacharan prayers and then we'll begin. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So, first of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the devotees of Iskcon Naperville for engaging me in this service. When I was asked by Balram Prabhu to speak something, I actually told him that I'm not qualified, but he said that I should still speak. And then I actually got the indication that if I please Balram Prabhu and if I please all the devotees of Naperville, then Krishna will accept whatever little offering that I'll make. So first of all, I wanted to share that Naperville has a very special place in my heart, because it was almost 20 years back when I was in Chicago land area. It was actually in Naperville where some of the devotees actually, I don't know if Stoka Krishna Prabhu and Manasi Ganga Mataji are on the call or not, but along with them and Balram Prabhu and some other devotees, we actually got together to strategize on how to share and preach Krishna consciousness. So I distinctly remember that session. And of course, over the years, the devotees of Naperville have been very close friends. And of course, Pandurang Gopal Prabhu and other devotees, always been very loving, caring. So Naperville is a special place for me, and I'm very happy to be able to serve the devotees and share some thoughts from this topic today. So today we will talk about some lessons that we can learn from the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. So it's interesting that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would recite the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj every day. And while reciting these pastimes, hearing these pastimes, Mahaprabhu would actually weep and cry every day. So much so that the script of Bhagavatam, it would become wet from the tears of Mahaprabhu. So much so that after some time, actually it was difficult to read those pastimes. So we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us the highest form of worship, right? Aradhya Bhagwan Brajesh Tanaya Tadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasanam Brajavadhum Varge Nava Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam Prema Pumurto Mahan Sri Chaitanya Madhavandam Tatra Dharana Parha, right? So Mahaprabhu gave us the highest form of worship is worshipping Krishna, right? The highest, the best place is the holy place of Vrindavan, right? We worship Krishna following in the footsteps of the Vraja Gopis, right? And we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam, Prema Pumartho Mahan, right? So Bhagavatam actually gives us the topmost Purushartha Shiromani, right? Love of God, pure love of God, right? And in that text of Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahaprabhu put special emphasis on these two pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj. And I was reflecting that there's one thing that's common in both these pastimes, right? That in both the pastimes, the devotees are actually, 5 years of age, right? Children, right? And they both get darshan of the Lord at that age, right? And they both, basically are not sannyasis, not brahmacharis, not right poor brahmanas or brahmanas, right? But they are kshatriyas, and they actually continue to rule the world, right? Rule, the kingdom for many, many thousands of years, right? And both are blessed to actually enjoy the material world, right? So it's interesting that what is so specific or so special about these two pastimes, right? So one point is that the intensity of devotional service rendered by both of them is unparalleled, right? And that intense devotional service attracts the Lord to do something which is impossible, right? Giving a very clear indication to the devotees that the Lord is capable of doing anything when it comes to reciprocating with his devotees, right? So that gives us that deep faith that in serving Krishna, uh, right, we can expect miracles, right? So again, these were just some thoughts. We'll jump into our discussion now. So again, the pastime is huge, right? Running into several chapters and then many shlokas in both these chapters. But what I've done is that uh, I have only picked up, the section until Lord offers benediction to Dhruva, right? So part one is basically pre-darshan of the Lord, and part two in today's discussion is the benediction of the Lord, right? So basically, I'm just kind of laying out what we can expect to learn today, and then we'll go deeper, right? So this way you can know what is coming, right? So first thing we will learn today is forgiveness. Never desire ill for those who hurt you, right? It'll come back. Number one, forgiveness, right? Uh, Number two, only Krishna can fulfill any or all of our desires, material or spiritual. Right? So number two. Uh, Third is a wholesome approach towards devotional service, meditation, chanting, deity worship. Right? So that's the third lesson we're going to learn. And then gradual progression and austerity of Druva, right? And a gradual progression in general in austerity, right? So these are the four things we will learn in part one. Part two, we are going to learn the mood of the Lord, right? So I would, of course, when we discuss that, we will get into what exactly I'm indicating by this. But in that, we are going to learn about the Brahma Maya. The Lord blesses Dhruva with all good fortune, awards pole star, rule of entire world for 36,000 years, and ever youthfulness, enjoy blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of death, remember the Lord, and then at the end of this life, promoted to Dhruva Loka, as good as Vaikuntha planet, right? So these are the two parts. This is what we can expect to learn today. So we can jump into part one, right? So as we all know the story of Dhruva, right? Dhruva tries to get on the lap of his father, right? Uttanapad. Suruchi, out of her envy and pride, she insults Dhruva. She speaks very hurtful words, harsh words, right? To ensure that Dhruva gets the point very clear, right? And Dhruva is completely heartbroken, right? In fact, not heartbroken, he is fuming with anger, right? He is absolutely unable to tolerate what he has just heard from his stepmother. So he goes to his mother, Suniti, who by now had already got the news that Dhruva has been insulted very severely, uh, right? And she herself is broken, right? Uh, at that time, Suniti, she tells something very interesting to Dhruva. This is the first thing she's telling her child, saying, Dhruva, please do not wish ill for others, right? So this is a very common thing in our lives, right? We all are subjected, we all go through such type of insulting episodes in our lives. At the hands of family members, at the hands of friends, at the hands of fellow devotees, right? And a very natural response is to curse them, is to speak ill, right? Out of anger. And Suniti is pointing out here very carefully, right? That wishing ill for others is not a solution to the problem that we are undergoing, right? And this is the outlook of a devotee. Please understand, Suniti herself is a very fixed up devotee of Krishna. For her to be able to guide her son like that. So she's very carefully, first thing she says, please do not wish ill for others. Right? And then she's actually pointing out, she's saying, what Suruchi said is true. Right? You should worship the Lord. Right? And then she explains that nobody in this world can mitigate our sufferings, can remove our distress. Right? Nobody. Currently, we are all surrounded by this, pandemic of coronavirus, and people are trying various ways and hoping and praying things will get to normal, right? Nobody is able to fix it, right? And of course, devotees are taking shelter of Krishna, and upon taking shelter of Krishna, this crisis can actually become a blessing. Like we see in the episode of Dhruva Maharaj, the crisis, a very difficult, tough time, is going to transform into the epitome, the culmination, or the peak of Dhruva's life, which is the darshan of the Supreme Lord. Right? So I was actually reading Japa Reform book by Satswarup Maharaj. And in that, it's right here in this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, right? Where we'll come to that, where Narad Muni, he tells Dhruva that, Dhruva, when you will chant this mantra in this way for 7 days, in 7 days, you will be able to see flying beings in the sky, right? And Prabhupada explains that such is the nature of engaging sincerely in the practice of devotional service. And Prabhupada is mentioning specifically that if we sincerely chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, sincere chanting of the holy names, right, will actually enable us to see Radha and Krishna. Right? And the same thing Satswarup Maharaj is writing in the Japa Reform book, where Prabhupada is actually explaining. Prabhupada is writing a letter to him. Prabhupada is saying that if you simply hear the sound vibration, right, there's nothing else to be done. We don't have to concoct anything. We don't have to force ourselves to see anything or think anything or watch anything or any of those exercises. Simply hearing the sound vibration of the holy names, Prabhupada says, Krishna will actually reveal everything, right? So, coming to this point, how to transform a seemingly negative, difficult time in life into a blessing, right? Is approaching the Supreme Lord, right? There is no other solution, right? And that's what Suniti is actually explaining to her son, right? First, please forgive your stepmother for what she has spoken. Secondly, please collect gold, even if it is available in stool, right? So she has given a wonderful instruction. She is right. If you want a solution to your distress, please go to Krishna, right? And of course, as we all know, Dhruva Maharaj, with great determination, decides to go to the forest, right? And then, so of course, yeah, one point here also. So she's encouraging him to take shelter of the Lord. Now, this one specific verse is very interesting. It's something that all of us can relate, right? Where she's explaining to Dhruva, Dhruva, the Lord is Bhratya Vatsalam, right? Tam eva vatsashraya Bhratya Vatsalam. Lord is Bhratya Vatsalam. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is something that we can kind of keep in our back pocket, always with us, right? And pull it out whenever we need, right? Prabhupada writes in the purport, Pratyavatsalam is translated as that the Lord has motherly affection for the devotees, right? So Suniti is saying that I am just one mother, right? Giving you love and affection. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is like millions of mothers. His love and affection upon his devotees like millions of mothers, right? That's what she's explaining here. So this is something we can relate, right? We all have experienced, love and affection of our mothers, right? And imagine, multiply that by millions of times, right? That's the love and affection Krishna showers upon his devotees, right? And after knowing that fact, right, it would be only very foolish to not actually seek out to that special mercy of the Lord, right? So she's encouraging Dhruva like that, giving him the comfort. You will go to the forest. I won't be there in the forest. Nobody will be there in the forest, but Krishna will be there, and Krishna will protect you, right? And then of course she says, no one can remove your distress. So then Dhruva goes to the forest, and of course we know that Narad Muni is testing Dhruva, right? Saying, Dhruva, this path of approaching the Lord is very difficult. Give it up. Don't try. Yogis have been trying, right? This is your age to play. But Dhruva is very determined, right? And upon seeing the determination of Dhruva, then Narad Muni recommends him path of being able to approach the Lord, right? Path of attaining the Lord's mercy, right? And interestingly enough, that is instruction that Narad Muni is giving Dhruva, right? It's basically a very wholesome approach towards devotional service, right? So as you all know, devotional service, there are 9 processes of devotional service, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Pasevanam, right? Armanivedanam, right? So 9 processes of devotional service. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that of the 9, the topmost 2 are Shravanam and Kirtanam, right? But out of those 2, Tara madhe sarva shreshta Hari Nama Sankirtan. Right? Hari Nam Sankirtan is the topmost. Right? But here we understand how the various processes, they are integrally combined to make the devotional service of a devotee complete and give the right necessary realizations to make progress in spiritual life. Right? So again, Japari form book. So Prabhupada is actually saying in this one letter to a devotee, Prabhupada is saying that actually all you need to do is chant 16 rounds. I'm thinking that probably the devotee was asking questions saying that, Prabhupada, do I need to chant 64 rounds or something like that? And Prabhupada was saying, all you need to do is chant 16 rounds and follow the program, temple program, very in a very disciplined manner, right? And if you do so, you will be able to engage your mind and senses very nicely in the devotional service. And this will take care of your entire program for making progress in Krishna consciousness. However, Prabhupada says, however, still if you feel very disturbed, then you may chant 64 rounds. So I was thinking this is very, very nice that Prabhupada is sharing this, because oftentimes, in fact, one of our devotees, he's an amazing chanter, right? A very, very sincere devotee from our, Mumbai congregation. And he says, so when sometimes I'll talk to him, he said, Prabhu, staying in a city like Bombay, 16 rounds is not enough. Because Bombay, the moment you get out of your house, all the entire Shakti of material energy is attacking you. So 16 rounds is not enough. You have to chant minimum 25 rounds. Right? And sometimes actually we may feel like that we're chanting, but still the mind, the senses are bothering us, troubling us. So Prabhupada says that of course we try following the nice program, but if still we have a problem, let us access the opportunity to chant more rounds, right? However, now here we see that Prabhupada's instruction of that wholesome program of devotional service, how that is explained here by Narad Muni. So first Narad Muni is saying that, Druwa, please, engage in Ashtanga Yoga, meditate on the Lord's form, right? Chant the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Prabhupada explains that usually meditation is always accompanied by chanting, right? The chanting, is actually the means to meditate and think about Krishna, right? So chant the mantra, make a deity of Krishna, right? So Narad Muni is introducing deity worship, right? So very important to really understand the place of deities in our lives, right? In fact, elsewhere it is stated that unless we engage in deity worship, we will not be able to appreciate the personal form of the Lord, right? We will not be able to appreciate the personal form of the Lord. We may be chanting holy names, we may be chanting Hare Krishna, but that will not lead to the personal connection, right? So one very advanced devotee was sharing with me that when he heard this devotee is a very scholarly, he knows like everything in the Shastras, he knows that, right? He'll give amazing classes, very, very, very amazing Vaishnava. He said, when I heard this, Prabhu, he translates Srimad Bhagavatam from English to Marathi language, right? So he scrutinizingly, he has to make sure he understands every word very carefully so he can translate. He said, Prabhu, when I read that statement in Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, immediately next day, I went to my head pujari and I bowed down. I said, Prabhu, please put my name on DT worship list. Right? And I was amazed. I said, wow, that's how important DT worship is, right? Why? Because that's how we are able to connect with Krishna, right? So then worship the Lord by offering pure water, tulsi, fruits. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj was offering water of Jamuna, right? We may, and again, please, if you get a chance, read these series of verses. Prabhupada is very nicely explaining, how practically, based on time, place, and circumstances, one can actually engage in deity worship. So Prabhupada is saying, we may be in America, we may not be able to, get water from Ganga, Jamuna, but collect pure water, right? Chant the right mantras, right? And Prabhupada actually, in the purport of one of the verses where Narad Muni is saying that worship Krishna with tulsi leaves, Prabhupada is actually thanking Govinda Dasi. I was saying it's very difficult to grow tulsi in Western world, but our gratitude to Govinda Dasi, who has actually made it happen, right? So thinking how important it is, right? Sometimes we pluck tulsi leaves, we offer, we don't even think, right? So Narad Muni is saying, worship the Lord by offering pure water, tulsi leaves, right? And fruits and vegetables, right? And over there again, Prabhupada says, fruits and vegetables are available everywhere. Right? Krishna is saying, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, so please offer fruits and vegetables. Right? And I was actually thinking that from a health consciousness perspective, right? It is important to offer fruits and vegetables and eat them, right? But focus on eating the fruits and vegetables more than everything else, right? Because there is no rice, there is no wheat, there is no bread available in the forest for Druwa, right? And if we were to follow the Druwa diet, right? In Sadhu Sangha retreat, there is a Druwa diet, right? So then automatically become healthy. So Bhagavatam gives us that solution, right? Please focus on fruits and vegetables, right? And then of course, there's control your mind and then so on and so forth. But what I was interestingly noticing that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, right? Archanam, Vandanam, right? All are collectively done in a balanced manner to actually make progress towards building that relationship with Krishna, right? So it's a wholesome approach, right? Then, of course, Dhruva Maharaj starts his austerity, right? Gradual progression in austerity. So first month, kapita fruits, right? Second, dry grass and leaves once in 6 days. Third month, water once in 9 days. Fourth, air once in 12 days. And then finally, he's controlling it is explained that he becomes as heavy as Lord Vishnu himself. His consciousness becomes so much aligned, so much consumed by Krishna, right, that he becomes as heavy as Krishna, right? And Prabhupada mentions in the purport, amazing, he writes, Prabhupada says that this is the power of a pure devotee. That one pure devotee can actually have an impact on the entire planet. Just as one pure devotee who is so Krishna conscious, he could move the entire planet. Prabhupada says one pure devotee can have impact on the entire planet. Right? And we actually have seen that, right? One pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, could actually change the direction of where the world was heading towards. Right? So that's the Shakti of a pure devotee. And that's the Shakti of the process of inviting and consuming our consciousness with Krishna. The more we are able to have Krishna in our heart, right, the more we are able to have influence in the mood of service, right, over the world, right? So that was an interesting point. And then, of course, Dhruva Maharaj, because now he's becoming as heavy in consciousness as Lord Vishnu, right? When he is controlling his breath, the demigods are choked up. And then they approach Lord Vishnu, saying, what is going on? Lord Vishnu knows everything. He says, please don't worry. Lord Vishnu goes in front of Druva, right? And then we enter into the part 2. Now, please understand that these few verses, right, which we're talking now, these are the verses spoken by Krishna, by Lord Vishnu, right? Lord Vishnu's interaction with Druva. So this is like something that we want to zoom in and really observe and watch and read every word very carefully, right? This helps us to understand two things. One is, it helps us to understand the consciousness of a devotee as he approaches the Lord, right? That's first. The second thing we learn is the consciousness of the Lord. What is the attitude of the Lord towards a devotee? This is very important, right? That oftentimes we do not go deeper to understand what the Lord is feeling, right? So Krishna consciousness, sometimes we think, of course, Krishna consciousness means becoming conscious of Krishna. But also we can try to, speculate a little bit within the boundaries of the scriptures and say that Krishna conscious means, what is the consciousness of Krishna, right? And that's very important, because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti asu. Arjuna, my dear Arjun, one who understands the reason behind my appearance and my pastimes will never take birth again as my devotee. Right? So it's very important to understand the reasoning, understand the consciousness of Krishna. Right? And this is what can pick up from these few verses. Lord has only spoken 4 or 5 verses here. We can pick up. It's very interesting. As we go deeper, we realize, wow, it's amazing what kind of a personality we're worshipping. Right? So that's why I wanted to point that out, that please let us focus on what the Lord is speaking to Druva, right? So of course, first, when the Lord appears, we know that Druva is meditating. He is seeing the form of the Lord with his closed eyes. And then the Lord appears in front of him. The darshan goes away. And Druva becomes agitated, because he's like, where is the Lord? And then he opens his eyes. He sees the same form in front of him. Right? And of course, when he sees the Lord, Druva, in his humble state of mind, becomes very anxious. Because he's saying, I am just a 5-year-old boy. The Supreme Personality of God has appeared in front of me. What do I speak? What prayers do I offer? Right? So as Dhruva is thinking like this, immediately the Lord detects what's going on in Dhruva's mind, and the Lord touches his conch on Dhruva's forehead. And the moment he touches the conch on Dhruva's forehead, it is explained in the verse that Dhruva experiences the Brahma Maya, right? Brahma Maya is a word that is being used. Brahma Maya, right? What is that is? That is the spiritual vibration that is given to Dhruva, which surcharges him with inspiration to now offer prayers. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes which is again very carefully we want to note. Prabhupada says, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is such a sound vibration, or such a vibration that was injected by the conch of Lord Vishnu to Dhruva's forehead. There is no difference between Vishnu touching Dhruva's forehead with a conch and us chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Can you imagine? Right? So Prabhupada is saying the sound vibration is like that. So actually, if we very carefully, attentively absorb ourselves in hearing the sound vibration of the holy names, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our heart can be infused with inspiration to glorify the Lord. Right? So that's what actually happened to Dhruva. And Dhruva, starts glorifying the Lord. Series of verses, beautiful verses. Please read them when you get a chance. And then after that, right, the Lord is basically speaking. So the first thing the Lord is saying, He's saying that although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, what Dhruva has asked for is very, very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you. Right? Then he says, all good fortune unto you. Right? So the Lord is always desiring good fortune for his devotees. Right? That's why he's Madhav. Right? He's always desiring fortune, bhagya, opulences for his devotees. Right? So by worshipping Krishna, automatically all auspiciousness, all good fortune comes to a devotee. Right? And that's why Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, Bhoktaram ektapsam sarvaloko maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam. I am surud. I am a well-wisher to all the living entities. Krishna is our best friend. He only desires good fortune. Right? So if we are interested in turning our lives into fortunate lives, right, we seek that aspect of the Lord, right? Good fortune. Then of course, the Lord awards Druva Loka to Dhruva Maharaj, pole star. Right? So now please understand, this is so interesting, that Dhruva, his desire was like a childish, right? He wasn't even serious, like out of anger, he was just, he just desired, and then after chanting and praying, he is completely purified. And actually, Dhruva is telling the Lord that, my Lord, I am so foolish. In fact, after the Lord disappears, Dhruva is lamenting. He's weeping and crying, saying, what a fool I am, that I got darshan of the Lord, but I had these material desires in my heart. So he's lamenting, right? So Dhruva's desire was just like a very childish desire. Lord could have very well said, Dhruva, it's okay, I understand. Now you're purified by rendering devotional service, no problem. Please rule the entire world for 36,000 years. Take it easy, right? He could have blessed him like that. But Lord took that desire seriously. He says, no, you desired it, I'll fulfill. Right? I'll fulfill. Just as to protect Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord appeared in, the amazing form of Nrsimhadev. Here, in order to do something impossible, right, the Lord is saying, you know what I'll do? I will turn a planet in this material universe into a Vaikuntha planet. So, we have heard about Vaikuntha planets in Vaikuntha Loka, right? In the spiritual sphere, spiritual world, across the Viraja river are all the Vaikuntha planets. Can we see Vaikuntha planets from here? No. We can see pole star from here. The Lord took a planet of this material universe, turned it into a Vaikuntha planet for his devotee. He can do that. So amazing. So amazing. Right? So I was thinking, wow, we are so fortunate. If we can see pole star, we can actually get darshan of Vaikuntha. Vishwanath Chakri Thakur actually says that, the Dhruva Loka is a Vaikuntha planet. Right? So the Lord actually took that seriously and fulfilled the desire. And then rule of entire world for 36,000 years. And not that after 50 years, Dhruva Maharaj's body will start paining and he'll start getting old. No, he will never get old. Wow. Amazing. Only 6 months tapasya. Right? 6 months tapasya, 36,000 years of ruling without any threat. No elections every 4 years, 5 years, right? Look at the return on investment. Right? And actually, we also have that opportunity. If we chant properly, we actually engage in devotions properly, we can get, special blessings of the Lord. Right? And then what? Enjoy blessings of material happiness in this life. So enjoy the material world. Dhruva was enjoying the material world. Prahlad Maharaj was given that blessing. Right? That you will be able to enjoy the material world. Right? And you will be able to overcome, all the sinful things. You'll be able to, completely get rid of that and avoid it. Stay away from it and enjoy the material world. Why these blessings are given? By the Lord. Because for a devotee, it does not matter. A devotee, in all circumstances, right, will only be thinking about Krishna. The same thing is done with the prachetas. When prachetas also get darshan of Krishna, Krishna comes and Krishna gives the blessing. Prachetas you will enjoy for next 10,000 years or whatever. Right? So enjoy blessings of material happiness. Right? And at the time of death, remember the Lord. This is very important. Right? No compromise on Ante Narayan Smriti. Right? And at the end of his life, promoted to Dhruva Loka. So after 36,000 years, then go to Dhruva Loka, which is as good as Vaikuntha planet. Right? So this is the consciousness of the Lord. When it comes to giving back to his devotee, he will not leave any stone unturned. Right? So be careful what you desire from Krishna. What we desire from Krishna, we have to be very careful. He'll fulfill it. We may lament it after, like Dhruva Maharaj, why did I ask that? Right? But he'll fulfill. But please, also we can understand that when we approach the Lord, it's all good, right? It's all good, right? That is the perfect process. So we have 10 more minutes, so we can take some question or comments if anyone has any at this point.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we have one question on the chat window.
Yes, Prabhuji.
From Sumangala Mataji. Mataji is asking how to stay determined and focused during adversity and when juggling between family life and services.
Hare Krishna. How to stay determined
and focused.
And focused. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahu shakha yanantasya buddhayo vyavasayinam. Right? That for one who's resolute in purpose, one's intelligence is one point. Right? Vyavasayatmika buddhi, right? And in that, Srila Prabhupada starts the purport by saying, strong faith in Krishna consciousness means that to know that by engaging in devotional service, one will attain the highest perfection. Right? Shraddha Shabda Kahe Sudruda Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Right? So what is Shraddha? What is that strong faith? That by doing Krishna Bhakti, Sarva Karma Krita Hoy, I'll get highest perfection. Right? So focus comes by that strong faith. And when we have that focus, then that focus helps us to gather that necessary determination to remain steadfast. Right? So, the situation of the world outside and inside, it's all very transitory, right? Changing, fleeting, right? Sometimes the problem is in the outside world, sometimes the problem, or actually most of the times the problem is inside our mind. Right? So these problems will be there. The mind is going to challenge us. It's going to trick us. It's going to cheat us. Right? But that focus, that vyavasayatmika intelligence, right, will come through cultivating that strong faith. Strong faith will come when we go deeper in understanding what we are in it. What do we have? Who's the personality we are worshipping? Right? What is the process we've actually we given? Right? So that will help in building that strong faith. And determination will come when we engage in our sadhana, right, very nicely, and also, more importantly, we take association of those who are determined. Very important. This is actually the key. When we take association of determined devotees, fixed up devotees who do not compromise, right, that rubs off. So I would say that those are some thoughts on your question, Mataji. Nice to get the question from you. Not able to see you, but I'm remembering you now. So
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, there is one more question on YouTube. I don't know the name. Name was not mentioned here, but question is how a devotee can affect whole world while stopping his breath.
So, again, this is very technical on how that exactly happens. But as we were explaining that Dhruva Maharaj, right, by the dint of his austerity, right, by the dint of his austerity, his consciousness, actually Krishna completely consumes him. Right? He becomes as good, right, as the heaviness, the Bhagavatam verse explains, the heaviness of Vishnu, right, that is the heaviness that Druva is able to exercise. Right? So we may not say that he becomes non-different than Vishnu, but that's how powerful he becomes. Right? Then what happens? The verse says that when that epitome is reached, Dhruva, he increases his tapasya. And he now is controlling his breath. He's not breathing, right? He's taking the breath, but he's not breathing. He's holding on to his breath. He closes the holes of his body. And when he does that, right? Because the sum total of the consciousness, right, of the creation, which is Lord Vishnu, is now all consumed in Dhruva. Dhruva's, body becomes like the creation. And when he blocks all his holes, the air is not able to pass through. And the same phenomenon is experienced in the world. So imagine the world as Dhruva's body. And now, when there is no air circulation, what will happen? That is what was being experienced by the demigods. Right? So this is a kind of a technical understanding, but if those who do yoga, they can understand how these airs are circulated, and when you block when you do the different bandhas in the body through yoga, how it kind of blocks the air, right? And here we read from Bhagavatam that actually yogis are able to do those things. And Dhruva Maharaj had perfected the process of yoga here, right? By actually holding the Lord in his heart, right? So that's how it is explained. And again, that's the level of technicality which is explained here in Bhagavatam. So that's how deep we can go. But if one is interested, one can actually do more research. But again, that's not needed. The focus of today's discussion or this pastime is really that intensity of Dhruva's devotional service and the reciprocation of the Lord. That is the focus, right? I hope that answers that question.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, one more question in our chat window. This is from Sandhya Mataji. Is it also the technique that by those who do tapasya underwater, like the prachetas?
What is it? Is
it also the technique that by those who do tapasya under the water, like prachetas?
Yeah. So again, there are various ways of performing austerities. We know that Saubhari Muni was also performing that type of tapasya, right? So in the Satyuga, previous ages, all kinds of, like we hear Hiranyakashipu was performing tapasya in some way, right? These are all various ways of performing austerities, and based on various guidance, instructions that various people receive, based on their motivations, based on their their situation, they actually pick and choose, or they perform these various types of austerities, right? So again, those are slightly more technical. However, Srila Prabhupada explains for all of us in this age of Kali Yuga, right? The simple tapasya we have to perform, right, is to chant our 16 rounds minimum and follow the 4 principles. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. And that's what, as I was mentioning, Prabhupada was telling the devotee, chant your 16 rounds and do your seva and do the program nicely. That's it. Nothing else. Right? But actually, even that also is difficult in this age of Kali Yuga. Right? So that is what is recommended. Now, one thing I want to mention, that actually just as Dhruva Maharaj was doing his gradual progression in his tapasya, similarly, in our devotional service also, as we want to make progress, we may want to maintain a gradual progression, right? Like sometimes we like how we encourage devotees. We say, okay, first chant 4 rounds, then you chant 8 when somebody is new in Krishna consciousness. Then you chant 16, right? Slowly, gradual progression. Similarly, in our lives, we can also try to take that slow and steady step, gradual progression in our austerities in Krishna consciousness. Of course, our austerities need to be within the purview of what is, practical, right? And remembering the wholesome devotional service approach. Right? We can't say, okay, I'll chant 64 rounds and not do any seva. And we can't say, I'll do only seva. I only do DT worship, Prabhuji. Don't tell me any other service. or I only chant, or I'll only read. No, it's a wholesome devotional service, right? I hope that answered Sandhya Mataji's question.
Prabhu, one more question from Ashish Prabhu. Question is, Bhakti is said to be better than yoga, and Gnana, however, does Bhakti generate yogic powers, or was Dhruva Maharaj knew yoga as well?
So it is interesting that when Narad Muni is telling Dhruva about the approach that he needs to take, Narad Muni tells him to perform Ashtanga Yoga to begin with, which means it is understood, which means that Dhruva Maharaj already knew Ashtanga Yoga. Right? If somebody tells us perform Ashtanga Yoga, what is it? Explain to me. Narad Muni is not explaining Ashtanga Yoga. He's saying perform Ashtanga Yoga, which means at that age, Dhruva Maharaj already knew that. But the point here is that Ashtanga Yoga is only a step to the main thing, which is performing devotional service, beginning with chanting the mantra, beginning with worshipping the deities, beginning with meditating on the Lord, right? That is the epitome. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says the elevator approach is Bhakti Yoga. It includes everything. 9 processes of Bhakti include everything. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. It includes everything, right? So we don't need to exclusively go behind Ashtanga or Jnana or those things, right? We focus, again, the wholesome approach. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, right? We do Ashtanga Yoga as much as it is needed to increase the tivrata of our bhakti, right? Yajeta Purusha. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Yajeta Purusha, right? So that remains our focus, right? Our focus is loving devotional service. Our focus is to please Krishna. If Krishna is not pleased, if Krishna is pleased by us performing Ashtanga Yoga, we will do Ashtanga Yoga. If Krishna is pleased by us by doing Jnana Yoga, we'll do that. If Krishna is pleased by serving the spiritual master, and spiritual master may tell us, go clean the bathroom, that's pleasing to Krishna. The goal is to please Krishna because that's love. That's loving devotion service. Is that, I hope that answers Ashish Prabhu's question.
Yes, Prabhu. I don't see any other questions.
I hope.
Wonderful.
I
Prabhuji, I have a question, if you allow me. So, Prabhu, I was looking at the 2 sections you mentioned. In the first part, the first point you talked about forgiveness. It says, never desire ill for others who hurt you. It will come back to you. So his mother gave that instruction. It's a very powerful instruction. So when we go beyond this, this second part, like Dhruva Maharaj, when his brother was killed by Akshas,
yeah,
without discrimination or without even thinking, he gets so angry and he charges against them. He doesn't show any mercy.
yeah,
Being a devotee, one thing, and second is why he has to do that only until the Manu comes and tells him, cool down. It is not advisable for a devotee to do that. So I'm just trying to understand, Prabhuji, how Dhruva forgot, and he again revived that knowledge. Okay, I should not be doing this. Is it? I try to understand how it happened like that. Being a devotee of the Lord.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very good question, Pandakuru. So basically, one thing we understand here is that Dhruva Maharaj, being a pure devotee, right, he had, first of all, two angles. Okay, one angle is that there is that relationship, like when Arjun heard that Abhimanyu is dead, Arjun experienced a surge of emotions coming out, right? And at that time there was no question of mercy or forgiving, right? He just took a vow. He said, this Jayadratha, I'm going to kill him, right? So that emotions, they just came out because of their relationship. So Dhruva Maharaj, he experienced those emotions. One angle. Second is from a perspective of a king, right? Dhruva Maharaj wanted to punish those who actually killed his brother unreasonably, right? So the punishment had to be given. So now, as a king, he's supposed to punish. As a brother, he's feeling emotions. So he goes full steam. He says, I will punish these people in such a way that for rest of eternity, no yakshas will ever do anything wrong. Right? Arjuna only killed Jayadratha. But our Dhruva Maharaj was one step ahead. Right?
Killing everybody.
Right. So he said, I'll wipe out the yaksha race from the face of the universe. Right. So he goes full steam fighting with that intention. But because Dhruva is a pure devotee, right? So pure devotees are always taken care by the Lord. So the Lord inspires Swambhu Manu to come and help. And if you read that episode, Swambhu Manu explains that, Dhruva, look, you have killed so many yakshas. You've done your duty as a king. Your duty is done. You punish them. Very good. But the other yakshas, what they have done wrong. So please forgive them.
Yes.
And Guru Maharaj, accepts that instruction, right, and follows that. So basically what happens is that when one is duty bound, so this is another lesson. When one is duty bound, one needs to be careful how to perform his duty within those limits, right? Sometimes we can, in the name of duty, we can punish somebody, right? He says, it's my duty to punish you. Look, wait, I'll punish you 10 times more. Right? So that's, of course, Dhruva Maharaj was a pure devotee, but for us, we can learn that we need to be careful, right? I hope I answered your question, Prabhu.
Yes. Thank you.
And actually, I would like to really thank all the devotees, Premanand Mataji, so Krishna Prabhu, Mas Ganga Mataji, right, Balram Prabhu, for taking care of me all these years, being wonderful friends. Pandurang Prabhu, yourself also, Sumangala Mataji, right? I have so many friends in Naperville. I'm just extremely grateful for extending friendship and love and care. Can never forget all the wonderful exchanges that we've had over the years. So thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. I hope that I'm able to serve you and please you in some way.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Syamasundara Prabhu. Please
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm sorry I'm not turning on the video because I had stuff all around me. Please excuse me. So anyway, I'm so happy to hear from you and also see you. It has been ages since we have met.
Yes.
And thank you so much for agreeing to come and give us the class. And it was so nice to hear from you. I hope you will always keep us in your prayers and always come and give classes for the Naperville Center. We need you. And also, before you go, I wanted to convey my obeisances to your wife and also check with you. How is your daughter? How old is she?
She is 16, Mataji.
My goodness. Hare Krishna. Please convey my love and respects to them.
Mataji, thank you so much. Please continue to bless me. listening
you.
lots of lectures and audio books and all sorts of
Thank you
things.
thank you
This
so
one
much.
I actually learned from the.
Okay, something else is going on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So nice to hear your voice.
So nice to hear you too. Yes, really.
My
Thank you,
obeisance,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Wonderful lecture, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Taking your time out, valuable time, and spending with us this 1 hour for 10 minutes. Really appreciate it, Prabhu. A lot of good insights from Dhruva Maharaj story. As always, your presentation is out of the world always. You get points, you go inside, you extract those points out. That is the beauty of your talk. We really should, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you on behalf of our congregation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.